What's up, everybody? I'm John Middlekauff. You know what I need you to do. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We got content for days reacting to every NFL game all the time, every single day. Subscribe, like the videos. Let's go.
Flipping around YouTube yesterday, hanging out at the hotel, and I watched this talk between Peyton Eli and Bryce and Caleb Williams. And one thing that's always struck me, and I've mentioned this forever when I used to go to games a lot, is that these quarterbacks in the Peyton and Eli era, they're enormous. Peyton and Eli, Tom Brady, these guys are Carson Palmer, these guys, Phillip Rivers, these guys are massive. Joe Flacco, you're talking 6'4.5" to 6'6". All of them were 230 to 240 pounds. None of them could run, but they were just massive. Roethlisberger, fucking horses. And now you see them next to Bryce, who's 5'10", a buck 90, and Caleb, who is bigger than Bryce, but still relative to that era of quarterbacks, not that big. And I think, and they were trying to give them advice. And, Peyton's talked about he's very positive when it comes to quarterbacks. Like, he's not a guy that's going to be overly critical and shit on guys, which I would like, but that's not really going to be his style. Is the record for interceptions in year one was Peyton Manning, threw 28. And he mentioned in this talk he threw 10 in his first 3 games. Football's hard, and playing quarterback's hard. And I don't give a shit how hyped up you are, what your accolades were coming out of college. If you're going number one, even if there's a trade like with Caleb Williams, you're typically going to a bad team. You're not usually going to an Andy Reid, a Kyle Shanahan, a Bill Belichick-led operation. So you go into a franchise that typically the coaching is unstable and the pressure is immense. And nowadays with social media, the intensity of it speaks for itself. But Bryce Young was really humbled. And looking at it, I'd forgotten, what a big time, barely lost in high school. And in college, by his first year starting, they beat Georgia in the SEC championship. And if it wouldn't have been for a couple injuries, he might have been a national championship. Or national champion. All the guy had done is win. Caleb, it's weird because his team his senior year sucked. And they haven't been good the last 2 years. But his last year at USC, they were not good. But he didn't get any of the blame. The coach got all the blame. The program got all the blame. The state of USC football got the blame. The recruiting got the blame. It was not put on him. And in fairness, like in some of their games, even though they won, I remember they beat Arizona in an overtime game when he was at USC. Shit, the only reason they were in that game was him. But sometimes when that happens, like, there's not my fault. And then all anyone's talking about is he's going to go number one, he's going to go number one, he's going to go number one, he's going to go number one. And he did. And honestly, looking back, Ryan Poles didn't even bring in another quarterback during that time. So you have to think Bryce Young was as embarrassed as any young quarterback I can remember and handled it as good as you possibly can. He was benched after a couple games and came back and I would say resurrected his career. Got to a point where it's like he can be a legitimate starter in the league now for at minimum a couple years. Like, he's getting a little runway now. He has proven that over the course of the second half of the season. And Caleb, it never got that bad. Though there were some conversations last year that people internally were like, hey, let's go to Tyson. That was kind of crazy. And coach gets fired. Everyone gets embarrassed. The franchise is in shambles. But you have to wonder sometimes humility. And it's easy to be like, you just got to humble yourself. Sometimes when you're young and everyone's, giving you a reach around and everyone's calling you the greatest thing since sliced bread, sometimes it's hard. Sometimes you just got to get in the arena of whatever you're doing and just suck at it to realize, like, this is hard. Because every old quarterback, and this is what Peyton and Eli were telling them, like, this game's so hard. You prepare, you work so hard. And I think Eli said this, is that, it never gets easy. It gets easier because of your experiences, because of what you've seen, but it never gets easy. And I think for these guys, especially when you're a big-time athlete like Caleb Williams, you're used to running away from guys, being able to make plays, being when you make the throws on the run, everything, you can beeline it into an area that another guy can't make a play. Well, in the NFL, that guy might be Marlon Humphrey. That guy might be Jair Alexander. That guy might be Ed Reed or Troy Polamalu or who Fred Warner, who's covering your tight end, or Roquan Smith, or you name it. Uh, all these guys on all the good teams can play, and all the coordinators in your division on defense are good. So being humbled sometimes in life is forced upon you when you're young. Usually, as you get older, it's pretty easy at different times in your life to humble yourself, to take a deep breath, to look in the mirror sometimes, because we have perspective. We've been around a little bit longer. But when you're younger and you don't really know what you don't really know, um, sometimes it's forced on you. It happened to Bryce. It happened to Caleb. And you really get two options. Now for Caleb, you got Ben Johnson, who this is what's weird about this situation. And I've said this before, is the pressure coming into this year. I've seen in other spots. And this is what happened to Anthony Richardson. Like the pressure was not on Shane Steichen. We've seen Shane Steichen. People think he's a good coach. We saw him win games with Gardner Minshew. We saw him turn Jalen Hurts into a high-level starting quarterback. Like people think Shane Steichen knows what he's doing. It's an Anthony Richardson issue. It's like when Trey Lance was thrown in there. After a while, it's like, this is not on Kyle Shanahan. This guy can't play. I know Ben Johnson can call plays. We've seen it now for years. I know they had a talented offense, but his play calling, his trickeration, his feel for it. We talk about this all the time. Certain people just have instincts, right? Certain people are just instinctive about what they do. Some people it's with business. Some people it's with, Colin and just his ability to hold a conversation and keep you engaged. That's why he's great at doing what he's doing for a living. We see it with coaches. Some coaches, if you just got me 10 quarterback coaches in the NFL and you gave me a whiteboard and a Sharpie, and I just said, let's talk football, all 10 of them, and I'll give each of them 15 minutes, they would all blow you away. It would be insane. They could all get to the levels of football where your jaw would be on the floor. It's like, is this guy speaking Chinese? But if I gave them all the same team, same weapons, same O-line, same quarterback, and we played 2 games, each of them got 2 games, there would be a couple coaches that would be dramatically better than the other at calling plays. Because there's a feel, there's an instinct to it. McVay has it, Kyle has it, Andy Reid's had it forever. Defensive coaches too. And some guys aren't that good at it, like Jim Harbaugh. It's not really his thing. Don't even know if he would know how to do it. Doesn't matter. It's not what he's trying to do. But so many of these, Kevin O'Connell, like they have a feel for calling plays. And you see some coordinators that immediately get overwhelmed. And sometimes it's their personnel's not great, but it's like, yeah, Lou Getsy's just not good at this job. He's just not that good at this job. Could he be better if he had Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce? He probably would. But I think something's missing here. And I think sometimes when it comes to a guy getting their first job, I know Ben Johnson can call plays. And we saw it with Sean McVay. Like, the guy could call plays. If his quarterback could just kind of settle down, and he did. And Jared Goff was awesome early on. And that, to me, is the key. And this is what Peyton and Eli talked about. CJ Stroud was up there as well. I texted a buddy on the Texans. I said, God, CJ is an impressive guy. He's just an impressive guy. I know he had a rough season, and the offensive line wasn't that good. But when you watch him sit there with Peyton and Eli and watch him talk football and leadership, you go, yeah, I kind of get it. I would keep buying stock in this guy. I believe might have been a year early on my Texans bet, but they're not going away. But I think if you're Caleb, you need to learn from these guys. Like, just get rid of the ball. Just dump the ball. You can't, not everyone's Steph Curry and shooting fadeaway threes. You can't always run around and try to throw deep bombs. And the way Jared Goff got his career back on track with Ben was just getting rid of the ball quick. Just getting the ball out of your hands. This is the NFL. It's a space game. And a team like the Bears, just like a lot of teams in the NFL, have a lot of really good offensive skill guys. The skill top to bottom on offense in the NFL has probably never been better. There are more running backs who can catch the ball. Historically, for every LaDainian Tomlinson and Marshall Faulk, there were a lot of running backs who weren't that great at pass catching. So you usually had third down backs. At Fox Day, I saw Shady. Shady was kind of unique. He'd catch the ball and he could run the ball. There were a lot of guys that struggled catching the ball. So if you were in 3rd and 7, you'd yank that guy out of the game. Go around the league right now. Look how many starting running backs are excellent in the passing game. Right? I mean, if we consider Saquon Barkley's hands to be kind of meh, shows you how, awesome the standard is currently in the NFL in terms of catching the ball. I would say that's the quote-unquote weakness of his game. Not that he has bad hands, but they're not, I wouldn't say Alvin Kamara or Christian McCaffrey or something. But my point is that is a huge element for these young guys, is to learn, like, it's not all on me. Because before in college, high school, it's always been on them. Like in the pros, it is a team game. It eventually comes all on you as you get older, as you become, a better player. But like make the right decision. Just keep the play going forward. I mean, a huge part of progress is just continuing to take a step, right, in whatever we're doing. It's like you never want to take steps backwards. And I think young quarterbacks, they kind of get caught up sometimes in trying to make these crazy plays because that's what they've done most of their career. In the NFL, you will get humbled and you will get destroyed and you will get embarrassed. And in some of these cases, it can ruin your confidence and derail a career. In others, it makes you way stronger and you come back better and you're an awesome player. So I think the Bears, they're going to be one of the better stories in the NFL coming up in 2025.